Hello and welcome back everyone, we're of course back on Hypixel Skyblock for yet another guide, and today it's all about how to make a ton of combat XP really easily, and you can do it really early in the game. Really, you can do it as soon as you start, essentially. Now first off, you can get combat XP from a bunch of different methods. Generally, of course, they're gonna be through combat. You know, that kinda works with the name of the kind of XP, and, you know, it's pretty obvious. But what many people seem to kind of forget about is that you can, of course, get combat XP from minions, just like any other skill XP. You know, you get farming XP from farming minions and all that. But people kind of seem to forget about the combat, as I said. But if you have a slime minion set up, if you have a zombie minion set up, if you have any of those, they will, of course, provide you with some combat XP. Now, for example, this slime minion setup right here is not going to give me a ton, but I will show it for example, because this does not have a super compactor, because that's generally how you want to have a slime minion setup. And, you know, generally you aren't going to be collecting from it, really. You're going to just let the enchanted hopper do everything, pretty much. But if I was to collect from this, you'll see that I did get a fair amount of combat XP. Now, the thing about that is, I know it said 14.8, but that's not the real number. It kind of just glitches out for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why. But don't always trust the first number that it shows, trust the grand number if you can remember what it was before collecting. And also, once again, these are not necessarily set up to be collected from a bunch. So if you have, say, a zombie minion like I said, or maybe a revenant minion or something like that, it will make you pretty good money anyway, and you'll be able to get way more combat XP because you will generally have that super compactor in it. And so you're going to be getting a lot more bang for your buck. But this is still just a passive method, so let's say you want to be a bit more proactive with it. Say you want to get out there and kill a bunch of things and get as much combat XP as quickly as you possibly can. Well, that's the best way to do it, quite obviously, because once again, it's combat. You know, sitting back and having your minions do it isn't going to make you the best amount. But you know what else isn't going to make you a great amount? Just randomly going into the graveyard and killing things without any goal in mind necessarily other than leveling up. You know, if you're just killing those basic zombies for like 7 XP, you're not going to get very far very fast. So, the first thing I have to tell you about in terms of actually being proactive with this is that you should try to get to the end and be able to one-shot things as fast as you possibly can. Now, I know this is pretty hard in the early game, but trust me, if you kind of just follow along, you know, kill the things in the graveyard, then once you're strong enough, kill the things in the spider's den. Then once you level up enough and are strong enough, go to the end and start trying to one-shot them. Trust me, you're generally not going to one-shot the Enderman the first time you come here. Generally, you're probably going to get killed a ton. But it's the trying that counts, and as you level up more, you'll be able to one-shot them sooner and sooner and sooner. And once you can, that's when you're really going to start raking in the combat XP. But even if you two-shot them and three-shot them, whatever, as long as you can kill them, you're going to be making a good amount of combat XP. Because, as you can see here, if I kill this one, that is 48.7 combat XP. Way more than the 7 point something that you can get from a graveyard zombie. So, first suggestion I have, get stronger, level up a bit, and then once you go to the end, then you're set, because not only will this place be better for just mindless killing and getting a bunch of combat XP, it's going to be better for the actual options that you'll get for the next part that I'm going to talk about in just a moment. But, once again, try to kill these as much as you can because they will give almost 50 combat XP each, and that's going to add up really quick considering how many there are in the end. I mean, it's the end for a reason, there's going to be Endermen. Now, if you're still very early game and can't go to the end yet, maybe you can't even really fight the stuff in the spider's den very well yet, you may be wondering, hey, I said that this method can be done by anyone. You can start Skyblock and you can do this method. You can do it as soon as you go to spawn. I said that, but then I say go to the end? That doesn't line up. Well, simple. As I said, the end is going to open up a lot of options for you, but once again, it's not needed for this method, because this method involves the Bestiary. Now, you're going to be killing a lot of things in this, but you're going to want to vary what you kill. So for example, let me go over to the Bestiary right here. You're going to basically go into the combat skill, and then right down here, you're going to see the Bestiary. Now, this thing, you are basically going to level it up by killing anything and everything that you can kill. Maybe not every little thing, but it essentially is everything at this point that you can fight. Now, as I said once again, you can start this whenever. You can just hop into Skyblock, get a weapon. You don't even really need a weapon. If you want to punch these zombies, you can do it that way. But you can go into the hub part, and as you'll see, there's going to be the graveyard zombies. Now, you can level this bestiary area up about 5 times, as you can see, and that's going to add up in the actual bestiary milestone. And we're going to talk more about that in just a moment, but as you can see here, you can kill basically anything in the graveyard or in hub all around, because there are the wolves and old wolves, and even the zombie villagers. So basically, you're going to want to get a sword and just go for whatever you can. Simple as that. Now you may be wondering, why do you even want to level up the bestiary up, because I didn't even explain that yet. Well, as you can see here, you get the bestiary milestones. And in the very early game, let me go to the very start of this, as you level it up, you're going to get health, and over time you're going to get combat XP. Level 5 of the bestiary, so that's a good amount of killing, but since you start with very low amounts of creatures that you need to kill, you're going to have that in no time. That's 5,000 combat XP just for doing it. Just for going around killing things that you would be killing for combat XP anyway, you're going to get that much extra, as well as a bunch more health. And then right here, you're going to get 10,000 and some Skyblock XP. Right here, you're going to get 20,000, 30,000, and more Skyblock XP once again. And right here, 40,000, 50,000. You see the theme that's going on here. You're going to get tons and tons of combat XP. You're just going to have to do a lot of killing, and a lot of killing of various different things. Because, as you can see here, when I go back into the bestiary, after a while, it's going to get to a point where you have to kill so many of these that you're not going to want to keep going with it, pretty much. It's going to get to a point where, it's going to get tiring. No one wants to kill 40,000 crypt ghouls. Eventually you're going to, but, if you're going around killing these things to level up fast, you're going to want to diversify, pretty much. Because if you have to kill 600 crypt ghouls versus, say, 3 more golden ghouls, you're going to be aiming more for the golden ghouls, because then it's going to take less time, and you're going to get closer to that sweet extra combat XP. That's the main goal here, because, if you only have to kill a couple things, getting that extra combat XP is going to be a big bonus. Like, for example, my next boost is going to be 125k. Now, this method has gone downhill a ton since my last video about it, which I will be leaving a link to in the description, just in case if you want to see how it used to be, and I'll be leaving a tag up in the top. But, once again, this method has updated, and I'm showing you how it is right now, obviously, and it still is good. It used to be better, once again, but 100,000 combat XP for where I'm at now is a relatively big boost. That's a good fraction of each level, and even when you're just starting, that 5,000 combat XP, that's a lot too. And I just cannot stress how simple this is, because you're gonna be killing things anyway to level up your combat anyway. So, while you're doing it, all I'm saying is basically that you want to diversify. So if you have killed all the normal graveyard zombies and you've killed that 200 marker, as you can see here, 200 is the max. I'm not going to level this up anymore, although I really wish I could. If you've hit that 200 marker, start aiming more for the zombie villagers. Start aiming more for crypt ghouls once you can. Even golden ghouls once you can. Maybe, old wolves, normal wolves over by the castle. Basically just diversify. Once these things start asking you to kill too many creatures, just move on to another one. Simple as that. For example, right here, I have to kill 9 more arachnes, which is not hard, but that would take time, it would take effort, and it would just all around be kind of annoying to do. It would be very beneficial, very profitable, most likely, but say I have to do this one where I kill 140 more dasher spiders, that's also equally difficult. So I would basically just move through here, see if there's anything that's almost done anyway. For example, gravel skeletons. I don't even have to kill 30 more of those. That's very quick, very easy. So if I'm in the spider's den anyway, trying to get done with as many as I can there, then I would aim for gravel skeletons until that gets to a point where it isn't really worth the time to keep doing, and then I would move on to something else like the rain slimes, or say the weaver spiders, because I only need about 100 more of those. Or you get the point. Basically, you want to go for whatever you need the least of, so that you take as little time as possible to kill them, and to get that extra boost towards leveling up. Since each time that you level one of these things up, that number on top will grow, quite obviously, and you're going to get one more tick along your Bestiary milestone. And you want as many of these as possible, obviously, because they're going to govern how quickly you get to that big boost of combat XP. So, you're going to want to get as many of these as possible. If I see an Arachne's Keeper, you better bet I'm gonna be running for that thing as fast as possible, because that's going to give me another boost, and that's going to make that go from 5 to 6 real quick, in one kill, extremely easily, and then I'm going to be that much closer to getting an extra 125k. And trust me when I say, over time this will ramp up. After a while you're getting 500k, a million, and then it kind of tops out at 1 million, but 1 million combat XP is a ton. That's going to level you up so much. That is no small number in the slightest. Obviously that is pretty late into the Bestiary now. It used to happen a lot sooner, but it's still insane just how much you can get if you really devote a bunch of time and are killing as much as you can, and if you're really diversifying and leveling all the different Bestiary collections instead of just, say, focusing on the normal graveyard zombies and crypt ghouls. Because, I mean, killing 600 crypt ghouls, that's going to take a long time. There's a lot of them down there, but that's a lot of running, that's a lot of killing, and it would definitely just be more beneficial to aim for something that I'm closer with, like the wolves. You know, they're a bit harder to hit, sure, but I only have to kill about 120 of them as compared to about 550. That's a big difference. And as you probably can tell by now, the reason I was mentioning that you want to unlock the end as fast as possible is because you're going to be killing a lot of those Endermen for combat XP anyway. They're going to give you almost 50, as you saw, and you're going to be leveling these things up a ton. You're going to level up the Zealots a ton once you can kill those easily. You're going to level up everything in there, pretty much, a ton once you actually can fight them. And so that's going to give you so many ticks in this Bestiary milestone that it's going to be insane. But do you want to know where the Bestiary really excels at? Not the deep caverns, not the farming islands, no one cares about those, not the crystal islands, not any of these places. They're all great, but where it really excels at is the catacombs. Now, because there are so many things that you can fight in the catacombs, and more specifically, so many of those things that you fight, you level up so much when you go through dungeons with a good clearing weapon. For example, if you've got a good, say, live a dagger that you can one-shot most enemies in floor 4 or 5 with, you're gonna be taking out a ton of enemies. It's not a great clearing weapon, but once again, if you can one-shot them and just run around real quick, it's gonna be taking them out so fast. And even more so if you do have a good clearing weapon, like a Spirit Scepter, or even a Shadow Fury, or anything like that. Anything you can clear a room really fast with, because once again, you're just going to kill so many of these things. There are so many crypt lurkers that you find in dungeons, and to get to level 12, I only need to kill 150 total. That's really not that many. And for skeleton grunts, I only need to kill 60. There's a ton of those in the dungeons. Normal tank zombies, no short supply of those either. Obviously, I've killed 91 of them, and I really don't do dungeons that much. Undead, you find these at the end of almost any dungeon. Very easy to find, very easy to kill. You're almost guaranteed to find a bunch of them at the end of a dungeon once again. And just all of these things, you're going to run into so many of them. And while you're doing it, you're going to get tons of great loot, like from the Lost Adventurers and the Shadow Assassins. Great loot from these. Great loot from all of them, really. You can grind it up and get undead XP really easily. Or not XP, but essence. And then you can use that to upgrade yourself in the dungeons. It's all a great combo of how everything works. You're going to be leveling up catacombs, you're going to be leveling up combat, because each of these creatures give a ton of combat XP anyway. I think generally they can give upwards of like 50 to 80 combat XP per, if I remember right off the top of my head. And you're going to be leveling up your Bestiary, you're going to be getting a ton of loot, and you can either sell that loot or once again grind it up, or salvage it I should say, to get a ton of undead essence and level yourself up in the dungeon once again. And just you're going to be leveling so much stuff up at once if you go into the catacombs with a good clearing weapon and a good goal in mind to level up your Bestiary. Now, there are tons of things that you can get while fishing. Basically, any fishing enemy that you find, sea creature more specifically, is going to give you some Bestiary. Even squids. I mean, those can't hardly fight back, if at all. But they give you Bestiary milestones, and that's what we're after, so kill as many squids as you can. Kill as many sea creatures all around as you can. If you see any sea creatures, just go for it. Kill them on sight. Really, kill anything on sight. Spooky Festival, the park. So any of the wolves that you find at the park, if you go through that destructible wall behind the waterfall, if you do Kudra, if you do Vajari event, once that happens every now and then, the Dwarven Mines, anything that you kill just about is gonna help you level up your Bestiary milestone. So in short, this method has gotten a lot worse since the olden days, I should say, but it's still really good, and the concept of kill things anyway, and you're gonna level up your Bestiary anyway, so just kind of diversify what you kill, still stands, and it still stands very well. So, I know this was a relatively short video, at least for me, but thank you all very much for watching. That's about it all for today. If you liked the video and if it helped you at all, make sure to leave a like, and definitely make sure to subscribe. It helps out a ton. We're on the road to 1,000. I can't believe we've made it this far, and I can't wait to see how far we go in the future. And at 1,000, I'm also going to be doing a massive giveaway. It's going to make both of my other ones look puny in comparison. Tiny. And make sure to subscribe if you want a chance to win, because it's going to be amazing once again. And definitely make sure to comment if you have any other suggestions for guides or anything that you might need help with, whatever else. And if you have any questions that are more specific and maybe don't need a specific guide about them, but you'd like to know a bit more information about them, so say, what's a good creature to farm for easy Bestiary, so something that spawns a ton and is close by and easy to kill, then I actually have a community and advertising Discord with channels specifically for Minecraft, Skyblock, various other things, and if you have any questions, you can feel free to join that and let me know, and I'm on there all the time answering any questions that anyone might have. Still pretty small, but definitely hoping to grow it a bit as time goes on. Anyway, as I said, that is all for today. Thank you all very much for watching. Till next time, everyone, and goodbye!